It's time for Pod of the Dead. Join
us! All right. We're good.
All right. Hello and welcome to Pod of the Dead. I am your host, Nicholas, and with me, as always, are the two ladies, Natasha and Stephanie.
Hello. Hi, guys.
On today's episode, we are covering the 1979 sci-fi horror film, Alien. Prior to this week's homework, what are your history with the film?
Well, I grew up with you, so it's kind of been in my repertoire forever. I don't think I've ever seen this movie, but I knew of Xenomorphs and facehuggers since I was a child.
A tale as old as time.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I thought I had seen this movie maybe like when we went in to watch it. I thought it was just something I watched a long time ago, but it wasn't. I didn't remember a dang thing in this. So other than like maybe something I saw that was like a clip on some video sometime. But yeah, I knew obviously like the Xenomorphs are like a big thing in the horror culture. So that's pretty normal. And I've seen other Alien films like that are associated to this, but I've never seen the original. So this was an interesting experience because you got to see like the original beginning of everything. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, this the one that you girls probably had seen more of was Aliens, the sequel, which is
and I really like that.
Which is the more action-based one and stuff. That thing got shown on like TBS and stuff like all the time growing up. Like that shit was on TV a lot growing up. But no, this is the OG. This is the 1979 Alien. By that, we mean there is an alien. You're not getting the hordes and all that stuff. So I can understand some people, if all they had seen is aliens and the like and stuff, they come back to watch this. They're like, that's it? It's like, well, there's also like a 7-year gap between the first and the second one. Like, but this is, I don't remember the first time I saw Alien. I do remember the first time kind of being introduced to the world, though. Like of the alien stuff, and it was because of our cousin Brendan. I believe, I'm not sure if I saw Alien first or Aliens, but I saw them, the first 3 of them, like within a weekend. And there was like a video game that we played, and then like for some weird reason there was a big push for like action figures back when I was a kid as well. There were Predator and Alien action figures fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Brendan and I were like super into Alien. Like I remember getting the Dark Horse comics that were like Batman versus aliens and stuff like that. And they're all like, I was like super into it. So Alien is definitely like one of my first loves when it comes to IPs. There were like, it was like Spider-Man and like Marvel Comics, and there was just aliens. And that was like the 2 fucking worlds that I lived in. So to get to cover this for the podcast was obviously my choice.
Yes, that's true.
But before we start getting into everything, Tasha, do you want to tell us exactly what Alien is?
Well, yes, I do. Alien is a 1979 science fiction horror film directed by Ridley Scott and written by Dan O'Bannon, based on a story by O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett?
It's something like that. Just own it. When you say it, just like that's how it's supposed to be said.
Ronald Shusett. And if he says that's not how he says it, then that's wrong.
Fuck him then. get a more easily pronounced last name, Robert.
Right.
Yeah.
You want us to talk about you, make it easy to talk about.
Yeah, come on, right. Bob.
Ronald. It follows a crew of the commercial space tug Nostromo, who, after coming across a mysterious derelict spaceship on an uncharted planetoid, find themselves up against a deadly and aggressive extraterrestrial loose within their vessel. The film stars God damn it. I butcher these names. Tom Skerritt, Sigourney Weaver, Veronica Cartwright, Harry Dean Stanton, John Hurt, Ian Holm and Yefet Koto.
Yeah.
I did it!
And Yefet is our Xenomorph. That's the man in the suit.
Oh,
okay.
cool.
So,
All right.
but-
I was wondering if it was a man in a suit because the Xenomorphs have surprisingly human-like hands.
yes. and very beautiful fingernails.
Yes.
Yeah, so this came out in 1979, as you have previously said.
I did say.
What do you think its budget was?
Oof.
And the ladies groan. They're just like, stop it.
Every time.
I know, and you know that it's going to happen
I know.
every time.
I know. And I never think about it until you ask.
I don't either. I'm not like sitting here pondering this before the podcast
Yeah.
going, man,
Budget.
I hope
Or
I
like
get this
while
right.
the movie's on.
Yeah.
Like you would
Yeah.
think I would pay attention while I'm watching the movie, and I don't.
Budget,
No.
what the fuck does that mean?
I know.
Right.
I'm just going to say 5 million because it was 1979. So that's the number I'm giving.
Alrighty.
I'm going to say 7.9 million.
It was 11 million.
Oh my God.
There's no winning.
There is no winning.
It
Only
isn't. Jeez, how?
Pod of the Dead, where there are no winners, there are only losers.
Tasha
Only
almost
losers.
won last time.
Yeah.
Like she
At
was
one time.
so close.
there
I mean,
was
we've
that one
gotten
time.
close a couple times, but man.
I think if you're within a million, you win.
That's pretty
So that
good,
one
yeah.
time, Tasha was only off by a half a million. So
yeah,
I
remember
call
that one
awesome.
time when we were like a lot and it was like 50 grand or something and it was like, that's nice.
We're basing it purely off of how much we like the movie.
Yeah. Oh, well, I love John Carpenter's Vampires. It obviously made $500 million. It's like, no.
Yeah, and that's me with A24. A24 films obviously cost a lot to make and obviously made a lot of money. And then you're just like,
Right.
it made $10. I'm like, shit.
Well, Vampires had a Baldwin in it. Was it Alec Baldwin? No. Then it was
Yeah.
cheap.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
So on its
okay.
on its $11 million budget, what do you think it brought in at the box office?
So it did have a wide release.
Oh yes, yeah. This was Fox. Like,
Oh, okay. Okay. I never know about that stuff because that was before we were born. So,
We need like Jeopardy music at this point.
yeah.
Please don't
I'm gonna
sue
just
me
be
for
like-
singing.
I'm gonna be like wildly high just because the popularity behind this, and I'm probably gonna be way off. So I'm gonna say 55 million.
All right.
That was higher, or that was lower than I was thinking.
Oh,
I was
okay.
going to say 63 million.
Okay,
63 million.
So-
You guys think that's
Yeah.
wildly high?
watch. We're like
This movie
way
made
low.
$184 million.
Oh my god, that's fucking insanity.
Yep.
Oh,
shit.
man.
Obviously,
We
it was
suck
considered
at this.
it was obviously considered a box office success.
Oh my
Okay.
god, that's
Yeah.
insane. Yeah, I
Wow.
would not have guessed that. I mean, I would have guessed that for the second one because it already had the popularity kind of like behind it, but I never would have guessed that for the first one.
Yeah, like
Was
I mean,
sci-fi really popular in the 70s?
this
Does
one
that have anything to do with it?
this one definitely like so basically how it works. It kind of hurts me to say this and stuff because I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. Like I like the movies, but like I think it's kind of over bloated and all that jazz.
We know your stance on
I know.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
But if there was no Star Wars, there would not be an Alien film
Okay.
because this got shopped around so much and so many companies were just like sci-fi's not in. Sci-fi's not in.
Oh,
and then
so Star Wars came
and then
out.
Star Wars came out and was so popular that they're just
Yeah.
like, sure, let's fucking do this. Let's
Okay.
pop this out. And obviously completely different films and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But it's
Like
one of those
wildly
things
different.
that there are certain films in the 70s specifically that come out that just completely change the landscape for years and years and years to come. It's things like
Mhm.
Star Wars, Jaws, things
The
like that.
Exorcist.
The Exorcist,
Oh.
yeah, like
Yeah.
whether you like it or not, that is
It's true though.
yeah, they
Halloween. Didn't that
Yep.
come out also in the 70s?
Yep.
Yeah.
So all that stuff, it just, and then you see the glut of it in the 80s. So those
Yeah.
things came out, and then more companies are starting to pop stuff out.
True.
When you start,
Yeah.
if it weren't for Alien, we wouldn't have gotten the Thing. It's stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
because of Star Wars, we get Alien. Alien was a wild success, and so on and so forth.
I'm surprised it took them that long to make a second one then if the first one was so popular.
I think it had a lot to do with the writer O'Bannon and stuff. There's a lot of fighting between him and the other people with writing credits and all this stuff, because he wrote the original story, but then there were a lot of other things. And he was such a pain in the ass on set and stuff that was like, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. And all. So, yeah, it's crazy. But,
okay. That makes sense then.
But let's see here. I can kind of give you a little bit on that, though. So, like, while studying cinema at the University of Southern California, Dan O'Bannon had made a science fiction comedy film, Dark Star, with director John Carpenter from The Thing and Halloween, and concept artist Ron Cobb, with production beginning in 1970. The film featured an alien created by spray painting a beach ball and adding rubber gloves as claws.
That may be like the homage to that, right? Where the hands are still hands.
Yeah.
And aliens.
That's genius.
It was played for comedic effect. The experience left O'Bannon really wanting to do an alien that looked real.
Okay.
And a couple years later, he began to work on a similar story that would focus more on horror. He said, I knew I wanted to do a scary movie on a spaceship with a small number of astronauts. He later recalled Dark Star as a horror movie instead of a comedy. Ron Schuster... Shusett. Yeah, that guy.
The name, yeah.
Ronald.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, was working on an early version of what would eventually become Total Recall. Impressed by Dark Star, he contacted O'Bannon and the two agreed to collaborate on their projects, choosing to work on O'Bannon's film first as they believed it would be less costly to produce. So.
I can see that. I mean, it is all practical, but it is very limited on how much experience you get with the alien in the movie.
Correct, but that's very much on purpose. Ridley Scott had said, like, while directing this, that he wanted to show the alien as little as possible because the dread that it builds, that it could be in the shadows at any second, which it totally does later in the film. There are times in this movie where it's actually in plain sight and you just don't notice it because it blends in with Giger's like his like layouts and stuff like that. It's fucking crazy. But
I always like that. I like how it's just lurking. You can kind of make the outline out later on.
Yeah, because like previously I mentioned Jaws, and some people have said that this is just Jaws in space. And it kind of is, if you really think about it. It's just this thing hunting people down and all that. But in writing the script, O'Bannon drew inspiration from many previous works of science fiction and horror, and he later stated, I didn't steal Alien from anybody, I stole it from everybody. So he just took every little thing and just like was like, no, man, like I was influenced by all this shit. And this is what I came together and made.
Okay.
But let's see here. So it was 1979.
Yep.
The horror films that came out this year was obviously you have Alien. This is like a crazy year. This is an absolutely nuts year.
Well, the original Halloween came out that year too, right?
It came out that was 78. Yep. I always get those two flip flop. Alien was 79. Halloween was 78.
Okay.
But you get Alien. You get the Amityville Horror.
Is it the original?
Yep. The original one.
Okay.
You get the original Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, cool.
You get the original Phantasm, When a Stranger Calls, the Italian sequel to Night of the Living Dead, which is called Zombie, and that's the one that I've got like the tie-dyed shirt and stuff. Super over the top, like gory zombie film. And then the TV made for TV movie Salem's Lot.
Oh, okay. Isn't that based off a Stephen King thing?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, all that shit. Like 1979 is an insane staple year for horror.
Yeah, starting out, that's crazy. Because then there's like tons of remakes of a lot of those later on. So
I think the first horror movie I ever saw in theaters was the Amityville Horror with what's his face?
Ryan
Reynolds.
With you, Nick. Yeah, being terrified.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we went up to see that, I think in Toledo, because it wasn't.
Sounds right.
I don't know if it wasn't showing here or what the reason was. I remember that, like going up there and everything, actually pretty vividly.
Was that early 2000s?
Yeah, it would have been like 2005, 2006, somewhere in there.
Okay. The first horror movie I ever remember watching in the theater was Blair Witch, probably. Like it's.
Ooh.
I would have loved to have seen that in theaters.
That was the first one. I think I saw it twice in the theater. because that was like a big popular thing when we were in middle school.
First time I saw that was on VHS in Natasha's room on her little combo because
the little 13-incher.
Yep. Because I didn't have a VCR in my room, but I had horror VHSs, and I think that I bought it at the library like yard sale they do every year.
Yeah.
That's how I got a lot of my horror movies and stuff.
Okay.
And yeah, I remember that was the first time. I don't know if you were watching it with me, Tasha, or if I just commandeered your room.
I don't think so. I don't remember watching that movie for quite a while. So if you were in middle school, I would have been in grade school.
Because it came out in, I think it came out in like 99.
Yeah, I was gonna say we were in middle school when it came out, so I do remember that. And then Scream. Well, I don't think I ever saw any of the Screams in the theater. I'm trying to think.
I honestly, I think the first. Good Lord, the first horror film, because we didn't go to the movies a lot growing up.
Right.
Like we lived in the middle of a cornfield and like that was true. That. Yeah. I think the first horror film I saw in theaters was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake when I was in high school.
Oh, okay.
I think that was it. And I think that was like 03 maybe.
Okay.
Everything else was just going to the Tri-County Video and just renting whatever the craziest cover was and
I lived at the theater as a kid, but I'm an only child, and I lived in a town that actually had a theater that was like, my dad's like, go to the mall, go to the movie theater. I don't want to do with you. So it was fine. I went and spent a lot of time in the theater. I remember watching Free Willy in the theater.
I think I saw that in the theater too with Grandma Headley.
And Titanic and a bunch of other good stuff. So.
Oh God, Titanic just kill me now.
I love
in the theater. Ugh.
Yeah,
it was amazing. All those ladies crying over Leonardo DiCaprio. There was room on the door, damn it.
Yeah, I think I saw that 4 times in the theater. It was so good.
Good Lord.
Times.
I haven't seen that movie 4 times in my life.
I love that movie. But I like James Cameron films. We already know this, and you do not.
Right.
You do not.
Speaking of James Cameron.
Oh no!
Segue.
Yeah, perfect segue.
Oh, yay!
The Alien franchise has possibly one of the greatest lineages of directors.
Okay.
For its first 3 films, you have Ridley Scott. So Ridley Scott is also known for doing Blade Runner, Gladiator. He just did the new Napoleon movie. He did like all sorts of crazy shit there. The second film is by your boy James Cameron.
Okay, I thought so. Okay.
So he did Aliens, True Lies, Avatar, Terminator 2,
Titanic.
Shut up.
The list goes on.
Yes. And then it's funny because it's like your favorite director is number 2. And then the third one is one of my favorite directors. David Fincher did the third one. Oh. Responsible for Seven, Gone Girl, The Social Network, Zodiac, Fight Club. So like, it's insane that these 3 movies, the first 3 came out. Like, we're not going to really talk about the 4th one or anything. It's just a whole side thing. And then all the prequel stuff, Prometheus, Alien Covenant, all that stuff, that's Ridley Scott as well.
Okay.
So it's got
who did the Predator one?
I don't fucking know. This
Alien
isn't a Predator.
Alien versus Predator.
That doesn't count.
Yes, it does. That's actually a fun movie.
No, because
I do.
Go ahead.
I did have a question about that. How those ended up like becoming,
all right,
like a team almost, or you know, like they battle each other.
How
all the
they
time.
get?
How does that happen? Yeah,
it happens because of the second Predator movie, which stars Danny Glover. Yes.
Okay.
Woo.
Yeah, it takes place like in Los Angeles, I think, and he's just a cop, and there's a predator running around. We'll get back to Alien, people. Just
sorry,
little sidebar.
They're all connected somehow. So
but in that movie, at the very end of it, because it's a predator, it's hunting, and it's got this wall of skulls. There's a Xenomorph skull there. From there, then you started getting a lot of comic books and stuff, a lot of that kind of stuff. And people had been chomping at the bit forever. Like, we need a movie. We need a movie. We need a movie. They put it out. I hate those movies for the same reason I hate the American like Godzilla films and stuff like that. It's like, we're just going to focus on people. And I'm like, no, no more monsters fighting monsters.
Right.
Yeah.
No one cares about people.
Yeah. Here, let me give some expositional dialogue. I hope something kills you right now.
A monster comes down and chomps you.
Yes.
Then it's good. I'm like, yay, but it never works that way. It's like, no, they're just going to be around for a few more scenes. I'm just like, fucking kill them.
I know.
I'm here for face chomps, damn it.
I know.
But so domestic box office for 1979.
Oh yeah.
to kind of give you a picture of what was going on in theaters and stuff. Some of these films you may be familiar with, some you may not. There's there's the Bill Murray movie Meatballs.
I don't think I've seen that.
Moonraker, which I believe is a 007 film.
No idea.
The Jerk with Steve Martin.
Oh, okay.
A movie just called 10. I don't fucking know what that is.
I don't either.
Maybe it's a placeholder. Apocalypse Now came out that year.
I never saw that, but I've heard of it.
Alien was the 5th highest grossing film for this year.
That's cool.
Ooh.
Star Trek the Motion Picture.
Oh boy. Okay.
Rocky 2.
Okay.
The Amityville Horror is our 2nd spot.
Wow.
Oh damn, that did really well. Okay.
Only beat out, and I understand this. Only beat out by about 10, not even $10 million. Let's see here. Let me do the math. $7 million. Only beat out by $7 million. Superman. The first Superman film came out. So Amityville Horror.
Wow.
Almost the number one.
Really
film.
well. Wow. That's so crazy.
And even then, like when you're looking at like number 9 through 1, because there's a big drop off to 10. Number 9 through 1 is only like a $20 million discrepancy between the two. Like,
okay. So they're really close.
A lot of like films that were like really tightly close. So,
okay.
But
I wonder how common it is for a horror movie to be in the top 3.
It's
I
really
need to do some research.
Yeah, it's got to be like a very transcendent film. Like The Exorcist, I guarantee would probably be one of those things, because it like the same with the Amityville Horror. It's based on that whole thing of like, this is based on a true story, like that kind of shit. And like the cast of that and everything, like, and same with like Alien. Nobody had ever seen, like, the fucking set design in this film is absurd. Like, even if you look back at like, you know, Star Wars and stuff like that, it's very like future centric and everything, but it has a very Buck Rogers feel to it, where it's just like over the top futuristic, where like Alien feels real. Like it feels, what are you eyeing about?
I mean, a lot of it did, but that room with all the lights.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Mother? Have you seen computers in the 70s?
You do not need that many twinkle lights with nothing attached to it.
No.
That was a bit much.
No, but what's really cool about that is all those lights and stuff are actually hooked to switches. So when actors are flipping switches and stuff, it's actually changing light patterns and stuff. So it would make it seem like they actually had work patterns and stuff. And they would actually go and be like, okay, I'm going to flip this and everything. And it would actually change what was going on boards and stuff. So I thought that was really
all
neat.
right. That's cool. Yeah.
But yes,
to me, it just seemed like there was some type of sequence and they're just like flashing on a sequence.
Yeah. No, I can understand that.
Yeah. But other than that, it was really cool, especially like the tightness of everything and how many things there are like in the background and stuff like that.
Well, and the reason it feels so tight and basically claustrophobic is like the entire film is almost completely shot hand cam style, because the sets were so small. Like they weren't able to, like with the sets, how they were built, they weren't actually able to get rigging in to do like sweeping shots and all that. So everything, like if you don't know it, you don't really notice it. You just kind of feel like you're close in on everything. The next time you watch it, you'll notice that the camera is always kind of shaking around a little bit, a little movement here, a little movement there. It's not so static, and it kind of puts you in that place a little bit more, which is crazy. But yeah, so Alien won the 1979 Academy Award for visual effects.
Cool.
It also won the Saturn Awards. Saturn Awards are specific awards for science fiction, like between movies and books and all this stuff. It won the Saturn Award for Best Science Fiction Film, Best Direction for Ridley Scott, and Best Supporting Actress for Veronica Cartwright. Jeff Goldsmith's score received nominations for Golden Globe Awards for Best Original Score, the Grammy Award for Best Soundtrack Album, and a BAFTA Award for Best Film Music. So, yeah, this movie was like heavily, acclaimed and stuff, but not necessarily from like all the critics and stuff like that. Because when it first came out, let's see if I can find it real quick. Our resident bad guy, Siskel and Ebert.
Always.
It was like the Alien? What are we talking about?
Roger Ebert reiterated Gene Siskel's earlier opinion, stating that the film was basically just an intergalactic haunted house thriller set inside a spaceship. He described it as one of several science fiction pictures that were real disappointments compared to Star Wars,
my God,
Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and 2001: A Space Odyssey. However, in both episodes, Ebert singled out the early scenes of the Nostromo crew's exploration of the alien planet for praise, calling the scenes inspired, said that it showed real imagination, and claimed that it transcended the rest of the film. Over 2 decades later, Ebert had revised his opinion on the film, including it on his great movies list, where he gave it 4 stars and said Ridley Scott's 1979 movie is a great original. Now, I have a huge fucking problem with this, because we've said this before. If you have a platform and you shit talk something like that, then you come back 20 years later and you just are following the trend of like, oh yes, Alien is actually a good film. That doesn't fucking matter. Like, it doesn't matter that you're giving it the accolades and kind of backing off on what you said, because this is the same stuff with The Thing, where people came out and was like, it's just gross, it's just blah, blah, blah. And it bombed in the box office. Later on, those same people are like, well, actually, it's actually pretty transcendent to blah, blah, blah. It's like, fuck you. And even John Carpenter was just like, well, that doesn't fucking do me any good now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just snobby is what it comes across as. And they're just like going with the trends to make everybody happy. It doesn't seem like it's like being honest. I understand the thing where it's like, it's a haunted house inside of a spaceship. It's like, okay,
what's wrong with that?
But also, like, Star Wars is no different than like most, like, there's like it's just like the hero's journey. It's the standard hero's journey. It's nothing. Now, I understand 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's a very visually like crazy film, in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, kind of. But like, I just hate that whole like compared to Star Wars. It's like real. I mean, they're not even the same thing. Like, come on, guys.
And as somebody who's like reviewing movies, you shouldn't review it up against something else. You should review it as such.
Yeah, you have to take it.
And it's funny that he mentioned. It's funny that he mentioned the beginning of the movie had these great scenes. That was my least favorite part.
I agree.
I love this movie top to bottom. But,
it definitely had a very 70s feel with how long beginning scenes were.
Good Lord, yes.
There is a lot of setup of like the ship coming down. That is such
of them literally setting up. Yeah.
Just like sitting there talking, and then it's so drawn out. Yes.
Kind of like our podcast.
Yep.
Ouch.
Ow,
no, like that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, I know, right?
Really gotta take a look at myself right now.
Oh God, I really. Hold on, I'm gonna pause the podcast.
A little self-reflection.
What am I actually doing with my life? Just yelling into the void, I suppose. David Eldstein wrote, "Alien remains the key text in the body horror subgenre that followed, or, depending on your viewpoint, festered in the 70s. And Giger's designs covered all possible avenues of anxiety. Men traveled through vulva-like openings, got forcibly impregnated, and died giving birth to rampant, gooey vaginas. Detent. How's that for future shock? This was truly what David Cronenberg would call the new flesh, a dissolution of the boundaries between man and machine, machine and alien, and man and alien, with a psychosexual invasiveness that has never, thank God, been equaled." So that is like, whether you guys are aware of this stuff or not, that H.R. Giger, the artist that is responsible for creating the Xenomorph and the layout for all that weird like stuff, going back and watching it, all of the vagina and penis imagery in the builds of all those things are purposeful. It is Giger's obsession with sexuality and like dark violence mixed together is a huge thing in his art, and that's what got him the job. Is they just like saw it and they were just like, oh fuck, this is amazing. So in H.R. Giger's original illustrations that inspired the look of Alien, the creature had eyes, though. That was a big difference. It did have eyes. For the movie, Giger insisted that the creature have no eyes, thus giving the bleak appearance of a cold, emotionless beast that hunts by instinct or smell. Fans have later theorized that the creature's domed head contains sensory organs that allow the creature to detect light or dark or see via echolocation like bats or electrolocation like sharks.
Okay.
So,
I'm glad he doesn't have eyes.
Me too.
Yeah. What's really interesting, though, is that like the shiny dome that goes back over it. If you actually see that in person and stuff, it's translucent, and underneath it, you can actually see the front of it is a human skull that then expands back. And there are optical there are orbs, not eyes, but like sockets.
Yeah.
Because this isn't anything to give away. Like, we're about getting ready to get into spoiler territory. The reason is that aliens take on stuff from their hosts, from which they are birthed from. They do take something on, which you see in later films where like one comes out of a dog or one comes out of another animal. It's shaped differently. It's like, yeah. And like, especially like in Prometheus, one comes out of a dog at the end of that one, and it's got like an elongated, like, it's really creepy.
That sounds weird, like a long snout.
Yeah. So, but
Giger's artwork is really, really cool. I just Googled it. To see this skull.
There he is. Yep.
That's so cool.
When we went to the Buckland Museum.
Hands.
Yep. Human hands.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. When we went to the Buckland Museum in Cleveland, which is the Buckland Witchcraft Museum and stuff, they actually have an original Giger piece there. That was actually super dope to see. I walked in, we were like checking stuff out, and it's so packed full of stuff. And I like looked up and got a hold of the guy. I was like, "Is that real?" He's like, "Yep, that's actually, blah, blah, blah." Like, explain. I was like, "Oh my God."
That's awesome for you.
Yeah,
did you know that he did, I'm sure you know, I didn't realize he did Dune too.
Mm-hmm, yep.
It's cool.
Oh yeah. He's got a crap ton of art, like a lot of spooky kids that grew up listening to Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson and stuff like that are very familiar with this artwork.
I see.
So, and
it has like a Tool vibe.
Yeah,
definitely. Anything with Tool?
No, but the color scheming is definitely there. Lots of gray, like bluish grays and stuff like that. But the last little thing before we get into spoiler territory is Nintendo's long-running Metroid video game series that was created in 1986 was significantly, my God, introduced, my fucking God, influenced
do this.
by Alien, both stylistically and thematically. As an homage to Alien, oh my God, just kill me now. Just throw me in the
hard,
trash.
man. I feel you.
It's
hard out.
Gotta word the words. Yep.
I've been there.
Villains in the first Metroid installment were named Ridley and Mother Brain after the movie's director and the ship computer, respectively. I always thought Ridley from it was like just a play on Ripley. I didn't know it was a play off of Ridley Scott. So that's kind of neat.
That's neat.
But all right. If you haven't seen Alien, it's on. I think we watched it on Hulu.
Yep.
It's available there. That's another one of those ones that you can probably find a box set of the first, like, who knows, 4, 5, 6 movies. What's up, Tasha?
You watched it on Hulu? You don't have it on
Oh,
Blu-ray?
I do. Oh, I have the box set.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you watched it with commercials when you could watch it.
We didn't have commercial.
Through.
We
on
pay.
The beginning.
It was a commercial at the beginning. Yeah, we got the
you have
commercial
the
free
ritzy one.
Yeah, not for all things though. But we just watched it upstairs because I was like, we can watch it downstairs. But I was like, I really don't want to go downstairs right now, so we'll just throw it on here. Yep. But if you haven't seen it, it's available. You can also probably find this at a 5 and dime store and everything. Like, it's insanely available. But we are going to go into spoiler territory. We're going to really walk through this movie, talk about everything that we want to, everything we don't want to. And at the end of the episode, we are going to give out homework for the next episode, which I believe will be the last one for the month of April. So if you haven't watched Alien, come back the last 15 or so minutes. That's usually where we give out homework and talk about some things that we want to champion that maybe we came across and stuff like that. So if you don't want to have the movie spoiled, leave, fast forward to the end. If you've already seen it or you don't give a shit, stick around, because we're going to burst out the chest of this fucking film and talk about 1979's Alien.
So if you want to be a part of our club, you can find us at facebook.com/podofthedead or else on Instagram at pod_of_the_dead or on TikTok at podofthedead. If you want to email us any questions, any complaints, or movie recommendations, you can email us at podofthedead666@gmail.com.
With that, I know, right? It's almost like this is our 30 some odd episode.
I know.
I'm getting it, guys.
Yay!
It's only taken like 9 months. With that, give me that 1 out of 10. Let's just get the 1 out of 10 out of the way.
Well, this one's interesting because it's actually like bullet pointed by like 12 points.
Yeah, that's what I saw. So I was like, that should work. Like I think the last one I sent you was like a diatribe with no breaks.
No.
So I saw one that was bullet pointed. I was like, that one should be a little nicer.
I'm curious to see.
I didn't read it though. I didn't read it. I just saw it.
I haven't read it yet either. You just sent it to me. So let's see. Okay, 1 out of 10. How is this considered a classic is beyond me. I saw it when it first came out in 1979. I was 16. Okay, so they have like history with this.
Boomer.
I was basically bored or disgusted by it. 22 years later, my opinion hasn't changed. Why do I hate this? Let me count the ways.
Oh,
count
buddy.
to 12 here. Okay.
On the first day of hatred.
The plot is old hat. It's basically a haunted house movie set in outer space.
Is this Ebert?
Maybe they're regurgitating his stuff. Yeah.
Well, okay. So, stop for a second though there. It is to me. Well, no, I agree with them. No, it's not about that. Is that enough to like hate something if you're familiar? Like it's like, oh, it's kind of like this to the instantly like it's fucking garbage because there's so many movies.
But what makes a haunted house bad?
I know that's what I'm saying.
Like, why is that bad? I mean, unless
and why do they?
Go ahead, Tasha.
Why do they keep referring to it as a haunted house? Like it's something creeping in the dark.
If that's the case, Jaws is just a haunted house on the beach.
Yeah, it's weird.
Anything that's lurking.
Anything that's lurking.
Apparently.
Yep.
Yeah. Sitting in the shadows. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Here, there is zero characterization. The crew members are virtually interchangeable. How can you care about somebody getting killed when you don't know who they are? That is kind of true. I actually agree with that. You don't build a relationship with really anybody.
I can understand that. Like if you're, I don't understand though going into a horror film expecting a lot of character development.
But I do agree with them in the sense because you spend the first 30 minutes of this movie, we even stopped it so I could check the timestamp just to see like how long they're doing character building and story building. And like you spend a lot of time with them chatting and sharing stories and doing stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you build zero relationship with any of these characters, apart from like maybe a little bit Ripley because she's like she's the final girl or whatever. Yeah. But like apart from that, you really don't care. Like at least I didn't care.
Ripley's a Disney princess now, just so everyone knows, because Fox was bought by Disney.
Nice. I was wondering where you were going.
Yeah.
So just in case, you know.
Okay, number 3, getting a bunch of talented actors and giving them nothing to work with.
I don't fucking see that at all.
Yeah, no,
I
disagree.
Overdone set design. Yes, it's impressive, but it overwhelms what little plot there is. Nice set design does not make a movie. Okay.
I don't know. Like, I think that the set design really sets you in it. Like, the way that they make the world look and like the egg chamber and all of the alien ship, all that stuff. I guess I can see like kind of like what you guys were mentioning earlier, like the mother computer room and stuff being a little like blown out of proportion and stuff, but at the same time,
it's very 70s.
Correct. At the same time, computers aren't what they are now. Like that shit is like this is how we have to believe that there is a interstellar ship that has this huge, like, I kind of just go like, yeah, no, this is how it would have to be.
I don't necessarily
And it's not the first movie that's like that with big blinky lights and stuff like that.
True. I just, to me, it was the color. Like, it was like we're in this dark, like, dreary spacecraft, and then we have like this whitish room, and like it just didn't fit to me. Like, I didn't care about the lights as much as, or the size of the room as much as I cared about the concept of like, it doesn't match the theming to me. So that was where I was at with it.
I wonder if it has something to do with like literal like color design and stuff. If that's supposed to be like signaling as like a safe space kind of thing,
probably,
or something. Like, it's like, oh, they come in here and it's like it's called Mother and all this stuff, and it's like, so, and like again with like so much, again with all that kind of stuff. If that's supposed to be the case,
it could. It just didn't work for me, even if that's the case.
Yeah,
so, 5, people stumble around in dark corridors and dark rooms looking for a cat. Not once, but twice. And this is after they know there's a killer alien on board.
Gotta save the cat.
Hey, we have a film where the animal doesn't die. Okay.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
Jonesy survives
on
That's
screen.
a point in my book.
Yeah.
He survives all the way through the movie, so he doesn't die on in this film.
That's true. But what the hell is the cat doing on a space mission? That was the next one.
Companionship.
Yeah.
Animals, petting animals is known to be a good stress reliever.
Yeah, but here, the one thing I was wondering when we were watching it is, okay, so obviously they're in cryo in part of this. Did the cat get out of cryo with somebody?
Well,
Did we see the cat get out of cryo?
It shows that she puts it in cryo at the very end of the film.
At the end of the film, but did she?
I would imagine.
I didn't know if the cat came out of cryo because we didn't see that. So I was like, why would a random cat just be hanging out for like however many years? I don't, not 100 years, but whatever the amount of years it is.
Well, it's going to take them 10 months to get back home.
Yeah,
That's
so
from where they're at, and they're only halfway home. So it's like almost a 3-year expedition to get from where they were at.
Yeah. So, okay. The characters act incredibly stupid. That was number 7.
Do they? Like,
I don't follow.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't. Okay. So we talked about this the other day. Like, I don't agree with the rules that were set for the storyline, but it doesn't mean that that's not the rules. So like, where they were like, well, if we hear a signal, we have to go and check it out because that's the rules or we don't get paid. And like, that was the rules they set up in the storyline. To me, that sounds dumb. Well, but that's how they build the story. So,
well, yeah, because like, was it Weyland-Yutani, the company that they work for and stuff? Upon later films, you realize how fucking horrible this company is. Yeah, it's literally laid out that they know what's going on and they want to get this back.
Well, and they kind of lay it out at the end of the movie that way too, where they're just like, we don't care if the humans die, just get us the alien species stuff. So like, but that's going in, you don't know that. So
that's a huge ongoing plot line through all the films.
Okay.
Is that Weyland-Yutani wants this thing? They don't want it to just. They want it basically to have a weapon.
Okay. Yeah. The alien looks dumb. It's just a guy in a slightly modified alligator
out of here. Literally the coolest looking creature ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
It is ever. Yeah.
Even if you don't know the movies, you know what a xenomorph is.
Yeah,
Motherfucker's got chrome teeth.
Yeah.
He was rocking the grill before anybody.
Yeah, and then he's got like this like tongue mouth thing that comes out and bites you. Like, that's cool in itself too.
That's a penis.
Yeah, the penis.
That's why. No, seriously, it's a penis.
I know, that's what I thought violent, it was too.
And it's like that. It signifies the whole. Yeah, all that shit.
Yeah, I think that's badass.
Yes,
so anyway,
very Freudian.
they said the guy in a slightly modified alligator suit. Cool set of double teeth though.
Alligator suit.
Yep.
I will say that it looks cooler in later films because
it does way cooler. Yeah. 8. 9. What does the alien do with its victims? 2 of them just disappear. That's true though.
Yeah, I think I've seen every single one of these films, and outside, like the first one, it doesn't set that up too well because in other ones, it's taking them to like places for them to be in front of the eggs. That's what I assumed, but they don't show any. They don't show any of that. They just show them disappear, and then they don't fill in the blanks. I mean, you see it attack them and drag them off. It could be eating them and stuff. It's gonna. I mean, that motherfucker grew from like about a foot long into a 7 foot tall monstrosity in like, I don't know, 5 minutes or a day, somewhere in there. Like,
yeah,
and
that's true.
That's an insane period. That kid is hitting a growth spurt like no other, and it takes a few skulls to get through, I guess.
Yeah. 10. Why is the alien killing them? What reason? We're never given one. Oh wait, because it's in the script. That's why. Why does any alien attack anybody?
Well, I honestly, it's trying to, the facehugger impregnates, it comes out, now it needs to feed. It's that simple. Like, it doesn't need to be like, oh, it has this whole like storyline and everything.
Compass.
Why does Jaws eat people? It's like, that's the line that I keep drawing.
Yeah, that's weird.
Because it's a predator. It is like literally, just hell on wheels.
Number 11. Sigourney Weaver strips down to her underwear for no reason whatsoever at the end.
I mean, she stripped down to get into the cryo thing, but I do have a comment on her teeny tiny underwear. Those were unnecessary.
Yeah, that was weird. They just looked awkward.
Yeah, it was like toddler undies.
Yeah, it was the 70s, and she's not
right.
No shame being thrown out or anything. This is not body shaming. She's not a very like shapely woman, so like there's not going to be anything that's just going to be like whoop. It's the 70s, and she's kind of a pencil.
That's true. Yeah, but they did look weird. They like sagged a little bit, and they were just like very unsexy, I guess.
Stop body shaming her. She's not there for eye candy. She is the hero, goddammit.
But it was like they tried to. It was like they tried, like, okay, now we got to show some skin.
Well, she was already.
But they showed her ass crack.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's okay. So before the movie actually had like a legitimate like sexual thing in it, because the way the script was written was that there was actually going to be like a sex scene or two in the movie, because it was supposed to show how like cavalier they were with like being out for so long that like just having sex with each other was like a whatever thing. And I believe it was Tom Skerritt, the man who plays Dallas, was like, do we really need to do this? Because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. With it kind of feels like it'd take us out of it. And Ridley Scott was like, yeah, let's remove that.
Okay.
So like there is still a little bit of that in it, in like the overt sexuality. Like, well, I don't want to say overt because it's not in your face.
Yeah.
The underlying current of sexual stuff in this film, to me, like it doesn't trigger as like exploitative, like, well, we're getting her naked. It's just like, oh, she's just in underwear. Everyone else was also at the very beginning.
Yeah, it was just the underwear, the way they fit. That was weird to me. And then the other one, the number 12, and then they got a little thing left after that. It's
bonus.
It's dull with like 17 exclamation points.
You go to hell and die.
I'm not gonna lie, like, oh, this sounds terrible. I kind of agree. I kind of agree with them.
I know. I was very upset with you.
I know. It is this. I almost fell asleep. Like it was, and I almost pulled a Tasha. I know.
Yeah.
And
you said multiple times.
Yeah. I was like,
he was also curled up on the couch, like laying on me. So
that'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't get comfy.
Yeah.
But I don't ever fall asleep during movies, and I don't usually get like really tired. And I really did with this. Like I was just like, it felt like it dragged really long for me. And I felt like I had such high expectations for this movie. And as I was watching it, I felt like, man, we got another, I can't believe I'm going to say this. We have another Exorcist on our hands. For me personally.
The fuck out of here. Do you feel like it was a little too long then? Because it was like 2 hours long, right? Yeah, it would have been better if it was like an hour and a half long, and they had cut out like all the stuff in the beginning, or at least shortened it. Because like once we got in with the alien stuff, there was bits and pieces that were a little like, but overall, that wasn't as bad. So okay. Well, maybe you should watch the director's cut that is 3 hours and 15 minutes long.
No. No. Okay, the only scene that works is the chest burster with John Hurt.
Yeah,
but that's only a minute or two in a 2 hour long film. Long, dull, and stupid. I give this a 1. I wish I could go lower. It deserves a 0. Avoid it at all costs.
That's so fucked up. I can't imagine seeing this film, whether you like it or not, seeing this film and thinking it's a 1. Like, this set, like being like, oh, the set design's so over the top and blah 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 blah. It's like I would love to hear what they say about movies nowadays. Like just look at fucking,
those are way over the top.
Jesus Christ.
I like that part. Like I like when there's a lot of rich scenery to look at, and like I get bored when it's just a room with blinking lights, like in comparison to some of the stuff you can see. So yeah. Okay. What do you got? What do you got, Tasha?
Oh, I have one more comment on yours. I'll take the extensive set design with a lack of character development, because we're not getting a lot of character development, but we're understanding the world and why they're there, which I think is more important, because at the end of the day, they all die.
Yeah.
So that part doesn't matter.
Well,
but
not everybody, but yeah.
But most of them.
Yeah.
But like understanding why they're there, what's happening, I think is more important than the like minutia of the people.
I think it does an amazing job of visual storytelling, where it's not having to explain stuff. You're just plopped in it, and you know they're giving you some exposition and stuff, like scientific jargon of like, oh, the atmosphere is like this and like that and everything. But like so much of it not just the alien itself, but the planet, the ship feels alien. This does not feel real. This feels like a fucking nightmare. Like when you're on that ship and like there's just all this weird, like it looks like bone like in the walls and stuff, and it was actually designed that way. So like Giger designed and worked on all aspects of the film, which he designed to appear organic and biomechanical in contrast to the industrial look of the Nostromo and its human elements. For that, he used dried bones with plaster to sculpt much of the scenery and elements. And then he also used like some like exhaust tubing from like Mercedes and stuff like that. Like that's just kind of cool. What you got. Like so
that's really cool.
All right,
shall I give you the 10 out of 10?
Yeah, let's hear about my brethren. Speak to me.
Not only is Alien one of the greatest sci-fi films created, it undoubtedly encapsulates all of the best elements of the horror genre too.
Round of applause. Round of applause. That's all that we need to hear. Yes.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm done. No, I'm just kidding. All right. The plot is perfect, simple enough that missed dialogue doesn't throw the audience out of the loop, yet complex enough to demonstrate the depth behind the context. I agree with that. And I think that goes to what you were saying, Nick, about visual storytelling versus needing like a diatribe of what's happening. Twists are utilized at the perfect moments to ensure that intrigue remains at a high, while tension is at a constant. Characters superb, with no real stereotypes of tokenism added into for no effect. Visually, the 1979 release is still far more aesthetic than films released 40 years later. The sets are superb, costuming is great, the lighting to capture the right atmosphere is perfect. Brief glimpses of the Xenomorph establish the fearsome foe without putting everything on show and lessening its impact. I really like that part. I agree with that. And is the perfect example of why costuming and puppetry done right will always look good and better than CGI.
God damn right.
Yeah. An excellent cast with Weaver's breakout role supported by the likes of Hurt and Holm. Dialogue is delivered realistically and always at the right intensity, and is never out of step with the perfect directorial pacing. A phenomenal start to a clear franchise material, which no matter how wayward later editions go, will always be a classic. Somehow Alien's sequel matches this performance too.
Yeah. Like Alien and Aliens are like two sides of the same coin. One is like, this is how I always put it. One is a horror film with some action. The other one is an action film with some horror. And it's just a matter of what you want.
Yeah, I never realized horror or Alien was considered a horror movie.
Yeah. Yeah, if all you've seen is aliens with space marines, like, game over, man, game over. Like, I love Aliens too. Like, by no means, like, am I shitting on that. Like, I fucking love that movie. It may be the superior film, like, as a film. But this movie, in knowing my history, like, or not my history, my my taste and stuff, it's got the vibes. It's just like the like all that kind of set design and stuff. It's like I can just like live in this. This is so nice. All these bones and ooh, yeah. What's this over here? Yeah. Oh, a little face hugger. Why don't you come here and snuggle with me a little bit, baby? Which the face hugger, when they're doing the autopsy on it and stuff, that's like sheep kidneys and actual intestine, stuff like that, to actually give it that real look. And they were going to paint it green, like was the initial idea. But when they brought it up and it was like that weird, just fleshy color, Ridley was just like, no, that's very unsettling. Let's leave it as that.
Okay.
Like, so
agreed.
Yeah, it's so gross at times. Like the chest burster scene and stuff like that, which we'll get into a little bit. But yeah, like I can't imagine what it would be like in 1979 being like, I like sci-fi, I've seen Star Wars. And then there's this.
That's true.
I have a question about the face hugger scene, if we're just going to jump into it.
Yeah.
So face hugger comes at him onto his face mask, his helmet,
melts through
from
it.
there. Okay.
Yeah, you see him.
I missed that part.
Yeah, it gets on there and it melts the outer rim, because in that scene when they're getting him, it's through the mask and you can see that it's like melted, and they're cutting the helmet off of him, and that's when they fully see it on his face wrapped around his neck.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, because like when they're trying to cut its digits off and stuff and the acid bleeds through, like that's basically what it's kind of like, you know, like certain bugs, like they'll land, like a mosquito, it'll land on you and it'll give you a little like numbing agent as it gets you, so you don't notice. It's kind of the same thing. It's like, no, I'm going to get through here. So it almost like secretes a little bit of its acid to work its way in towards its host. And then, yeah, it jams. It basically has like an elongated like mouth that it jams down into you, and it pumps you with oxygen and shoves an egg, like an embryo, into you. And then once it's set and ready to go, it falls off and it's dead, technically. Like there are ones that later films and stuff that scurry around afterwards and whatnot. But like in this one, you know, like it's done. It just, you know, it's kind of done. They poke at it and it's just kind of, because it's done its job. Like that's the whole point of it. Is in later films it shows like the alien queen lays the eggs. The eggs are then taken by worker aliens that set it in front. It's very ant-like. Set the egg in front of hosts. It pops out, impregnates, and it pops out taking on some of the genetic makeup of its host. So.
There's the cycle. All right, cool. I was curious about the reproductive nature of the xenomorphs.
Yes, there you go. Not a problem. And you actually get to see a lot more of that in like some of the more recent films like Prometheus, Alien Covenant, which both those are directed by Ridley Scott. So he like definitely leans more into that. But
cool.
So like, yeah, watch all of them except for the fourth one. Don't watch the fourth one. The fourth one's really fucking weird and it's gross and not in a good way. It's like there's like a alien human hybrid that's like a Caucasian alien with like kind of a humanoid face, and Sigourney Weaver's a clone in it. It's the whole thing. It's fucking bad. Winona Ryder's in it. So strange.
All right. Do you recommend watching them in order that they were made, or watching the prequels before? No,
I would watch, like, realistically what I would do is I would watch the first three. Like the third one, a lot of people shit on it when it first came out and stuff. There's still a lot of good stuff to be gathered from it. It's like, that's the one by Fincher. It was also his first movie, and there's a lot of studio interference. He almost stopped, like, was almost like done with doing films after that. He was like, fuck Hollywood, I'm out. So don't expect it to be Alien and Aliens. Alien 3, though, is definitely the darkest one. It takes place like on a prison planet and all that stuff. But then from that, just go watch Prometheus, and Alien Covenant's not that bad either. Like, I'm actually thinking about maybe throwing that on sometime soon, because I was like, I saw that in theaters and I just haven't rewatched it. So, but yeah, I suggest all those. I can't honestly voice the Alien versus Predator stuff, because I know there's two of them. I think I watched the first one and was angry. Like I said, I have my own problems with that kind of stuff. But yeah.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the standalone Predator movies?
I like the first one. The second one's all right. The newest one, Prey, is fucking cool as hell. Yeah, if you get a chance to watch that. Have you seen that, Tasha?
I haven't. I know of it.
It takes place in America during like the fur trading. So like the French and Indians and stuff, and it's like a Cherokee tribe and stuff like that. I believe it's Cherokee.
And it's women empowerment and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, Steph's all about it because fuck yeah, ladies.
That's right. Always.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But so the chestburster scene, right? So we've got John Hurt, who later went on to play like a doctor in Doctor Who for like an episode kind of thing. He's actually been around in a lot of stuff. The scene, how that was done was the crew knew that the chestburster scene was going to be happening. Okay. They did not know that the blood was going to spray like it did. So their actual reaction to it, that was the first take. There's some debate, first or second take, but a lot of people are saying it was the first take because when that blood like spurts up on Cartwright's face and stuff, and she's like fucking freaking out, like getting back, that's a real reaction because they were just like, oh, this thing's going to pop out, you know, and they see like a little bit of the blood like on the shirt and everything. And it's like, oh, that's probably about it. And then that fucking shit sprays across the room when it pops out. Yeah, they traumatize some people.
That's awesome.
And a lot of people, when that scene happens, a lot of people left the theaters on initial viewings and stuff. People just were like, not about this. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you have to think, like, I mean, yeah, The Exorcist had come out and stuff. And like the most graphic thing in that movie at that time is like the masturbation scene. But even then, it's not as visceral as what you're seeing, this thing crawling out of someone. Yeah, you're seeing the motion and you're seeing blood, but you're not seeing something crawl out of someone's chest. Like, I mean, and obviously Texas Chainsaw Massacre, stuff like that predates it, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre was like a drive-in grindhouse kind of movie. It was not a Fox, like 20th Century Fox film in every goddamn theater, you know? Like,
right. And I'm coming from it knowing that it's going to happen. So there's a difference. I guess I could understand it being the 70s and it being just way too much.
Yeah. I can only imagine like, oh, Alien? What's this? And like at that time there was PG and R, like there was no PG-13, right? So you're like, it's R. Well, that could mean like there's some kissing, you know, or whatever.
There's a cigarette.
That's true.
Who knows? And then you just see that. And it's realistically, like beyond that, like all the other gore in the film is so quick. Like you're seeing it kind of for like a couple frames, then it cuts away, right? Which later on they really get into the gore. But yeah, the chestburster scene and the Ash scene when he gets his fucking head knocked off and everything. And you find out that he's an android.
Which was pretty kind of cool. I liked that.
They were originally going to do it instead of that milky white stuff. They were originally going to do it with like blood and stuff. And when they brought it all up, the company was just like, that'll get an X rating and no one will fucking want this. It is way too graphic. So they're like, well, what do we do? And they like, well, what if it's this like milky kind of stuff? And they're like, yeah, that should be fine. So like, yeah, they were. Yeah, because it's not blood. It's not blood. Like, it's so weird, like, how people, like, censors and stuff look at that. It's like, it's the same thing with the Evil Dead and stuff. They're like, that amount of blood, no, we can't do that. And it's like, but what if it's green and black? They're like, that's fine.
Whatever.
And going back to, like, the everything being a penis and a vagina, now all I can think of is he's just covered in cum.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Tasha. It's okay. I'm with you there.
I mean, this is just a couple. This is just a couple tentacles away from being some shit that you read, Steph.
You're not wrong. That's true. I mean, I've been reading some tame stuff lately, so yeah. But that's true. That's true. Yeah.
And also with that scene before the chest burster, you have this false sense of security too, because you're like, oh, the alien died. Okay, now what's gonna happen? You don't see it coming.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the film is like that whole first half of the film is just a gestation period. It's literally like, here it is, and now he's pregnant, and now it's bursting out of his chest, and you're like, what? I don't remember this like when I was a kid. I've just seen it so many times. I don't know what I could not imagine what went through little Nick Brown's head seeing that. Just being like, what the Actually, the thing that fucked me up the most when I was a kid, I do remember this, was the Ash scene. Because like when he's fucking like they knock his head off and he's fucking flailing around and everything, that is far more disturbing in my book than the chestburster scene. Because for me, the chestburster comes out and I'm just like, that's fucking cool looking. Steph is literally going, oh, he's so cute.
He is. He was.
Aww.
He's adorable.
He's just a little guy.
He is. He was so cute. And he was just like, I'm hanging out here in this guy's chest. And I was like,
oh my God.
And then he just skitters away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they later make a joke of in Spaceballs, if anybody remembers that. Which the chestburster comes out and he's got the top hat and the stick. He's like, hello, my lady.
Yes.
Hello, my darling. The guy that it comes out of, still John Hurt. He reprises his role. And when that happens, he fucking falls down. He goes, not again.
That's awesome.
The guy who played what was he? The guy
Ash,
with
Ian Holm.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're watching this and I'm like, I know this dude from somewhere. Like, I cannot picture him. And Nick's like, yeah, he plays in Lord of the Rings. And I'm like, oh, he does. He plays Bilbo Baggins. And I was like, holy shit. He's come from like Alien all the way to playing a very big role in Lord of the Rings.
Yep. Old Bilbo Baggins in the original trilogy. Not the Hobbit trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Freaking amazing. I was like, that I knew I recognized him, but he's so young, and obviously this 1979. So, and then Sigourney Weaver, everybody knows her. She's been in so much shit. So,
but this was like her breakout, you know, like
that's cool.
What's really interesting is there were two people up for that role, and the other person had to bow out because she had previous engagements, and it was fucking Meryl Streep.
Ew.
Whoa.
No, I can't imagine that. Oh,
Yep.
I like her. I just can't imagine her in this kind of horror movie.
The only thing that I know her from really is like The Devil Wears Prada and
Death Becomes Her.
Death Becomes Her. That's it. That's all I fucking know her from. Everything else is like, oh, Meryl Streep. And I'm just like, yeah, no, I don't see her as Ripley at all.
No.
She's a badass, but those are two completely different.
Completely.
Yeah, because like Sigourney Weaver, I think of Alien, Ghostbusters, like all that kind of shit. Like
Avatar.
Get out of here. God damn it. I fucking forgot she was in that.
Both
She's also in Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Which we'll be covering hopefully this year.
I love that movie. Yeah, let's do it again.
That movie's really good.
It is.
But
okay.
So yeah, for the scene in which Ash is revealed to be an android, a puppet was created for the character's torso and upper body, which was operated from underneath. During a preview screening of the film, the scene caused an usher to faint.
Oh, wow.
In the following scene, Ash's head is placed on a table and reactivated. For portions of the scene, an animatronic head was made using a face cast of the actor. However, the latex of the head shrank while curing, and the result was not entirely convincing. For the bulk of the scene, Holm knelt under the table with his head coming through. The whole milk, caviar, pasta, fiber optics, and catheters were combined to make it look like the android's innards. And that's the shit that I love about like this. It's like, just throw pasta and milk at it.
Let's just do whatever and make it look disgusting.
Yeah.
I just had a flashback of Trick or Treat where you, Nick, were under a box as a head on a table.
Yes.
You were essentially Ash.
It's what's called Halloween when you're poor.
Yeah.
I was a bag of leaves one year and I was a head on a table.
Oh, okay.
Which is one of my favorite costumes.
It was literally a paper plate that was cut to fit my head, and then it was just a big box that a tablecloth went over, and that was it. I just walked around as
That's awesome.
I can't remember any of mine from my childhood, but I remember that box table.
Head on a table.
That's awesome.
They don't make them like that no mo.
No, they don't. That's cute.
I wish they did, though. Every year I want to be a crafty mom and make Wyatt's costume, and I'm not.
The only craft side story or whatever. The only crafty one that I did was I remember helping make one for Sydney where she was a TARDIS from Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, I remember that costume.
So that was another being poor, having a box costume.
So many things with a box.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boxes are the best. But let's see here. What else do we have? So, here's something that's kind of cool. So, when Kane, John Hurt's character, first goes into the egg room, right? And there's like that weird blue light that he is kind of over the eggs. There's like the fog and the blue light.
Okay.
So that blue laser was actually borrowed from the band The Who. It was they were testing out lasers for their stage show on a soundstage next door to where they were shooting this, because this was shot in England. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Ridley Scott goes over and is like, "That's pretty cool. You mind if we borrow that?" Where are we going to use it on? I don't fucking know. Just throw some fog down, throw a laser. That looks sci-fi, right?
Yeah. That's funny.
Speaking of Ash, was he the one at the beginning that made them open the door?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All of that makes sense now.
Yep. Yeah. The whole thing was because when he wakes up is when he gets the directive, because it was sent to the science officer, only for the science officer's eyes, that getting the alien is the top priority. All other things are expendable, including the crew and all that stuff. And that's America. That's just straight up pure capitalism. Fuck the workers, get the profit, Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were talking about how little things are seen on screen. So this movie is about 2 hours long. If you think about two hours, I'm going to ask you girls another question. How many total minutes do you believe the Xenomorph and the Facehugger appear on screen together? Not
the amount of time.
Yep, a cumulative of them both. Just take both their numbers, smash them together. You got 2 hours. That's 120 minutes.
4 minutes.
Okay, what you got, Tasha?
I say less than that. Maybe 2.5. Two and a half minutes.
Get this girl a crown. It was 4 minutes.
Oh shit, man, that's amazing. Hey.
So it's taken 31 episodes. We finally have on the dot
number.
That means you get to pull a $100 bill out of my pocket or whatever Bob Barker used to do.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's so weird.
Oh, if you get the money right, I get to put my hand in the pocket of an old man. Sweet.
Great.
Weird. Okay.
But yeah, so you guys got any more questions, or do you want to get into review territory?
Definitely need to get into review territory.
Good with review territory.
Yeah. Alrighty. So let's get into it. I'll make mine short and sweet because I've obviously said a lot about it. This movie is very important to me. If it were just a little bit shorter, it would definitely be sitting in extremely high company and stuff like that. I believe the sequel's probably a little better, just because the action of it is a little. It keeps you engrossed a little bit more, and Bill Paxton in it and stuff. The characters are a little more funny and stuff like that. That being said, though, this movie is not meant to be that. This is supposed to be a dreadful film. It's something hunting people. It is Jaws. It is Halloween. It could be a slasher. It could be a haunted house. It's all of that stuff. It literally, when they're saying it is everything that is horror, it kind of is, because you can draw a line to a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of similarities to something like Halloween, where it's just this embodiment of evil killing people, or a ghost story where it's just this thing lurking in the shadows. It's all that stuff. And then you take Giger's art and you fucking paint the walls with it, and you just do all that shit. It's fucking great. I love this movie so much. And because of that, I really battled with myself. I'm giving Alien a 9 out of 10.
Jeez, Al.
Right.
Okay. What do you got for us, Tasha?
So, I honestly liked it more than I thought I was going to. Knowing that it was the original from the 70s, I expected it to be slow. But but I got excited because I know just enough about the world that I got super stoked when I saw the face hugger, when I saw the chest burster. I thought that those were different creatures. I didn't realize until this movie that it's just different stages of the Xenomorph, so that was cool. I learned something new from it. I wish Ripley had a bigger part. I felt like with as known as she is for being in the Alien movie, she had a rather small part. True. Does it grow in the second one?
Oh yeah. Well, this is the only one that she's in that she's not top cast. And that's on purpose. You don't want to know who your final girl is.
Right, yeah.
But
that makes sense.
Going back though to something that you talked about previously, like I think just like in life, isn't there a thing about final girls and tank tops?
And tank tops, yes. Great job, Nick. You're right. I didn't even catch on to that. Usually, though, they're wearing a tank top. Is she wearing a tank top throughout the whole movie?
No.
Or is she in? Yeah. Usually, it's like you can pinpoint who that is because they're in a tank top from the beginning. But
this might be one of those things, though, that like kind of built that whole, thing.
Like she's such a prolific horror.
Yeah.
Woman, and I think that's really cool. I really like Sigourney Weaver in most anything she does. Me too. She's just a cool person. Anyway, back to the movie. Yeah, I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I would watch it again, and I want to rewatch Aliens because I know I haven't seen that probably since I was a kid, maybe middle school. I don't know. It's been a very long time. All told, I'm giving this a 6.5. I know it's not as high as you probably would think, but the beginning is very dry. I understand it needs to be, but at the same time, I don't need to see them cutting from taking a few steps and then cutting back to the guy in the swivel chair and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 6.5.
I don't think there's another movie in the 70s that's going to have that high of a score for you.
Probably not.
That's true. Yeah. As far as 70s movies go, this one has the highest by far.
There are only a few other 70s films that we'll probably touch on later and stuff. And we've actually talked about them in this episode, Halloween and Jaws. That's about it. Beyond that, like, I don't really foresee us unless listeners want us to do them. That's probably about it.
And now that I have more of a like feel for 70s movies style, it's to be expected. Going into this, I knew there was like seeing that long scene was like, okay, I know we just have to get through this.
Yep, this is the pacing that they do.
And I think it has a lot to say about like our attention span, you know, like never would a movie be made like that today where you have a 10-minute scene of them just eating breakfast because our attention spans aren't there. It needs to be like, all right, let's get this show going. So I think that's interesting, like an interesting parallel between like a shoot 'em up sci-fi movie now where you're just like, you hit the ground running and action doesn't stop versus back in the 70s where we didn't have like TikTok and scrolling and blah, blah, blah. So I thought that was kind of a cool parallel.
Yeah, 7 years later, it's just high octane with aliens. It's just fucking just adrenaline and fucking testosterone. Even the women are just chock full of testosterone in that film. All right, Steph, what do you got?
The only parts of this movie I genuinely liked, other than I did like the set. It was cool. And I liked the 4 minutes with the alien. Apart from that, I did not like this movie. I did not. I felt it was very dry. It was cool looking. I'm not gonna give it that, but I just can't. I had like Tasha said it. You know, going into a 70s movie, especially horror movies, they're gonna be slow as fuck. Like they just are, and I hate that. Like I legitimately hate it. But I went into this with really high expectations in the sense of like, it doesn't matter. I'm really gonna like it anyway because I like the whole Aliens universe, you know. And I just didn't like it. I almost fell asleep twice. It was very boring. It was very slow, and it just wasn't for me.
Before you gave your score, if we slapped an A24 sticker on this this would it have a higher score? Because they tend to be slower too.
That's true. The Witch was painfully slow.
Whoa.
She's right.
It was. I watched that movie multiple times and fell asleep every time.
You are narcoleptic. What do you got, Steph?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is about the pacing of like The Witch and why that works for me fine, because there's a lot of A24 films that are slow that I actually can really get into. I don't know if it's just the visuals or like the atmosphere that I can just jive with, but for whatever reason, the 70s horror films are not for me.
I think it's just the beat pacing. I think with stuff with like The Witch and things like that, it just gives you enough like every 5 to 10 minutes, where this one definitely does have like,
it lingers
where the ship is coming down. It's like a 10-15 minute scene.
I know. I don't like that.
For me, I go, that's a model. That's a real model. Like, I just keep going to that kind of stuff. But if you're not a fucking dumbass like me, like, I get
You're
it.
not a dumbass.
Like, it needs its time in the sun. Like, they've worked on it for so long.
Well, and I can appreciate that, and I want to be like, well, I could rate movies better because of, I just can't. Like, that's just, it's about likability.
That's my job. That's my job. I'm the one that goes like, historically, it needs to get these points plus my love for it or whatever.
Correct. And like, I just don't like, I appreciate that how much it's brought into the industry and all of the art that it took and all of that, but it doesn't change my likability of it. And I didn't like the movie. I just didn't. The 4 minutes with the alien, amazing. The chest burster scene, all of that stuff, I loved. I loved the, his head getting hit off and stuff and realizing he's not actually a human. I liked those pieces. So basically the violence, I liked the violence. Okay. And then everything in between was like Snorefest for me. But it was realistically, it was the exact same thing when we watched The Exorcist. I really liked the parts that were like, the parts where she's the
last 20 minutes.
Yeah. And then there was like one other spot in the movie that was like that too. And it was probably maybe a total of 7 minutes in the whole movie. And I was like, man, I really liked that 7 minutes, but this one's a 2-hour movie, and 4 minutes, liking 4, maybe 5 minutes of a movie out of 2 hours doesn't bode well. So I will never watch this movie again.
My God, man.
I really won't. I will watch all the other ones. I'm just not watching this one again.
Oh, you're going to watch 4? I'm going to strap you down and make you watch 4, and then you're going to be asking for 1.
Maybe. But if it's faster paced, even if it's crappier,
actually might like it more.
I might actually like it more. Yeah, exactly. It's more entertaining regardless of how much crap is being poured into the screen. So, I mean,
you do like the Resident Evil film, so it's probably
I do. I don't love them, but yeah, I like them. I would watch those again too. So, Nick's not going to like this. He doesn't like when I'm.
No, I'm fine with it. You're allowed to be wrong. It's okay.
I'm not wrong. I'm going to give this a 4.
You're giving it a point per minute for the alien.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wait, hold on. Does it get a point for Ash getting his head knocked off? No, it doesn't get 5.
I was debating between like a 4 and like a 4.5, but
I knew you were going to give it a 4.
4. Yeah.
Once you were like 4 minutes of alien, blah, blah, blah. That's all I like. I was like, it's going to get a point per minute.
It is. It doesn't. I mean, the Xenomorph works for me. The rest of it doesn't. And I really did. And from what I can remember, because I haven't seen it in a long time, I really liked Aliens.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
There is. And I'm more of an action person.
With its super rad. Oh, it's so nice. Oh, did you let? Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Finish.
Oh, okay. No, that was it. I was just 4 stars for me. Like I said, it was good in its own ways, but it just lacked mostly for me. So.
Right on. Tasha, did you let Wyatt watch it with you?
No. And watching it, he would have checked out in that first 15 minutes of the movie. Yeah.
I gotcha.
He wasn't here this weekend when I watched it. So,
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought of him as it was happening and was like, he would have either fallen asleep or went and did something else.
Yeah. He'd be more on board for the second one if you.
Yeah.
There's going to be more language.
He's there for the monsters.
Yeah, it's
correct.
He's there.
Have him watch the sequel.
Yeah.
So what's that give us score wise?
It's a passing grade, not by much, but it's a 65.
Oh, that's 65. A passing grade. It's over 50. Yeah. You're more than likely going to like this film.
No.
I think you more than likely will. I think I understand that it's not your jam and stuff.
It's not.
But like I was saying, when it comes to 70s films and stuff, especially nowadays when we get so like films like this allow and this is not me saying like you got to respect the films from before, but films like this come out and then directors learn and it's just like this whole thing of like tightening up how to do beats and tightening up how to get timing going and all this stuff to get to the point where you can watch a film now that's just like, I didn't even feel like that was 10 hours. Like, like Oppenheimer, which is like this fucking like super long film and everything. And it ends and I'm just, because I'm not one, like if a film is over 2 hours, I'm like, it's got to fucking really do something for me. And so you'll more than likely like it. But we'll make this this ending bit a little short and sweet because I know we're kind of crunched for time today. And so let's go into our championing of stuff. Tasha, do you have anything you want to champion real quick?
I do. So speaking of fast-paced movies, Drew and I went to go see Civil War.
Ooh.
Yeah. Have you heard of it? You know anything about
I'm
it?
very familiar with it.
Oh.
I'm on the fence about it.
It's very good.
Okay.
I really like it because you're following the journalists more than following the war that's happening.
Okay.
And it's so it could be happening tomorrow.
That's my problem.
So I liked that part of it. And you don't know. I don't want to say too much because if you're going to say it's a brand new movie, but there's obviously politics involved, but they never touch on politics. You never know what's the good side and what's the bad side. There's nothing like that in it. Exactly. And you don't know for a very long time. Through the whole thing, it shifts as to whose side you might be on. You never really know, but it's a very good movie.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's my champion for the week.
Nice. I think Steph and I are actually going to champion the same exact thing this week.
Yeah, I didn't have anything else, and this was a really good one, so you go ahead and start it.
We binged over the weekend the entire Fallout series that came out on Amazon. I
just started that.
It's so fucking good.
It is really good.
It is. I'm a huge Fallout fan. I've played quite a few of them and everything. It's one of those games that I can just fall into, and it kind of like Alien and stuff. I just love the world and everything. Yeah. And tonally and everything, I think they fucking did a great job. You're gonna have your naysayers and stuff like that are gonna be like, well, it's not actually like, fuck you, don't care. 8 episodes, they're all about an hour long. Super dope. They do a really good job of covering different timelines and different characters, and it doesn't feel jumbled up or confusing, and it leaves it already got greenlit for a second season before the first season came out.
Ow.
It's great. If you have Amazon, if you pay the evil empire, or any other way that you want to see it, I'm not here to judge, highly suggest it.
Yeah, it was good. I agree. I like shows that we were talking about this. It reminds me of a different version of the Twisted Metal show that came out on, was it Peacock or something?
Yeah.
Because that was based off a video game as well. And I really, really liked that. It was so good. And I would say this is just obviously a different world. And they actually give you way more depth in this than you get in the Twisted Metal show. But I liked it a lot. I like movies that have gore and grossness and
it is super violent.
And
I was not expecting that.
And so when you get a TV show that does the same thing as movies do, and it carries it for that many hours, it just makes it so much better for me. I actually Nick and I are completely separate in this. I prefer TV shows. He prefers movies. And so for him to sit down and watch and binge watch an entire series without me going, are we going to watch our episode yet? Are we going to watch our episode yet? It worked because
I think it was 2 or 3 sittings.
Yeah. Yeah. And he fell asleep during the second to the last episode one night. He did. He started snoring on the couch. And then the next day we caught up and he watched the last bits that he missed. And then we ended up watching the last episode. I really liked it. It's well developed. The characters are all vastly different, which I really appreciated. And you really get a sense of understanding their personalities really and their lifestyles. Yeah.
Really good story arcs, all that stuff. I popped so hard with certain songs getting played because they came out of the game. Oh, yeah. And then also there was a point where someone says war never changes. And I was just like, yes, they said the line.
Yeah.
They had to say the line. Yeah. That's so funny that you guys championed that because that was going to be my second one was I started watching Fallout.
Yeah.
But I'm only one season or one episode in.
Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah. And then the other thing I liked about it is there's obviously a ton of money being spent on this. It definitely shows. But I didn't know, Nick obviously had explained some of it to me because I've never played it except for the little Fallout Shelter game that you could have your own little shelter and you have to keep everybody alive. And then you have all these things coming in to kill your people and you have to have babies and all this stuff. So that was kind of cool. But, it was just like the mystery of it. And I liked that, I got to see the little guys that were in my little phone game. And I was like,
get to see the Vault Boys.
I did. And I was like, well, what is this one? And so he's like explaining to me like what each of these are. And I was like, okay, it makes a little bit more sense. Like, yeah, him. And then and then like the ghouls. So like I really liked that they like leaned into that a lot in this, and that made it even better, I thought, because I like those types of characters a lot because they're a little, the darker side ones.
Yeah,
so
it was super cool.
Yeah, it's really good. I liked it a lot.
And it leaves enough on the bones for the second season. Like it doesn't just give you like every single thing like a Fallout fan wants to see. So it's like, oh, we didn't get to see those things. Oh, we're going to see it next season, though. Yeah. And like they allude to it. Like you see like some stuff that you're just like, oh, it's happening.
That's exciting.
So. Yeah, it was fun. It was good. So I don't have any books this week. I started a new David Goggins book, and I don't really have anything.
Yeah, I started reading House of Leaves. This is going to take me all year to read.
Yeah,
it's dense.
It probably is. Yeah,
I'll explain it to you. I'll explain it to you, Tasha, when you come over this weekend.
Yeah. Cool. I have Head Full of Ghosts on order at the library. So
nice. It's good. It's good. But homework for next week.
Oh yeah.
We are going to be watching the James Wan horror blockbuster, The Conjuring.
Okay.
Got it.
So
I don't know shit about shit. So this is going to be another one of those like, hey, let's go watch this.
So that's our homework for the week.
Okay.
So that's obviously that came out in the 2000s. I want to say it's like 2013, somewhere in that 2010, Yeah. So it's a more recent film in that sense. I believe that it's available to stream on Hulu or Netflix. It's available. It's out there. Mm-hmm. And then so that's what we're going to be covering. Hopefully you come back and listen to us. Mm-hmm. We've been doing our homework. We've been coming out. We started getting some emails and stuff for some listener stuff. So
awesome.
Actually, after The Conjuring, we will actually be having I'm going to try and set it up that when we get those kind of things brought into us, that if we have any, the first of the month will be a listener requested movie.
Cool.
So
I like that idea.
Right after The Conjuring will be another listener requested movie, which I'm not going to tell anybody, but it's also a film that I don't think any of us have watched.
Awesome.
Because they gave me a list. Some of them I'd already had planned out, and I corresponded with the person a little bit and told them, all right, then we will be picking this movie up, and I have not seen it, and so hopefully you guys haven't either. So
okay.
Anyway, The Conjuring, check it out.
Yay!
We're gonna talk about it next week.
Okay.
For Pod of the Dead, I am Nicholas.
I'm Stephanie.
I'm Natasha.
Come back and listen to us, or else.